Welcome everybody to the HolloTalk podcast. This is Jetpack Nick, and I'm here with a special guest today, Simran Pabla. Say what's up to the people.
Hello, everyone. Super excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. You know, we got the co-founder of Rivet in the house.
Yeah, actually, before any of that, I should stop and say first, congratulations on season 4. That's
Thank you.
super exciting. I think it's really easy to start things, but it's incredible that you've continued it on so long and that you're still going.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm in season 4. This is currently season 4, and I started the pod in March of 2020. So I'm in my 4th season within 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm like moving pretty fast.
Yeah, no, but it's great. I just think it's really cool that you've put out so much content and such diversity of content. I was telling you before as well, I've been looking a little bit at what you put out there, and it's really, really captivating content because it's not too similar. Every episode is different personalities. Excited to see what I can add to it. But yeah, I just wanted to congratulate you. It's a huge
Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, like I do try to, get people that have different perspectives and, will come from different walks of life, because I think that as a listener, or at least what I like as a listener, I like to hear different things, different perspectives of different people, just to see what I could take away, add to my own perspective, my own life, see the angles that, I might not see if I didn't get that information from that person. All those things factor into, how I try to diversify my content. So from me to you, I thank you for those wonderful compliments.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's get into it. So for the people who don't know who you are, can you let them know who you are, what you're about, and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Simran. I studied computer science and I'm a very technical nerd on one side of my life, but more recently have transitioned into this entrepreneurial journey as well. I'm a co-founder at Rivet, like you mentioned. We're building a community management platform to help creators engage with their fan bases more effectively. So it's been a really cool process. I'm learning a lot and I'm getting the chance to speak with a lot of really cool people. That's how I met you. And I'm, yeah, just continuing down that journey and seeing where things go. I pretty recently graduated, so I'm at the
Congratulations.
beginning. Thank you. I'm at the beginning of my career journey. So
Gotcha.
yeah, we're seeing where things go, but it's been great so far. Very exciting.
Yeah, I am on the entrepreneurial journey with you, and I'm very familiar of all the ups and downs that come with it. So my advice would just be to stick to it. The same thing that you said to me: stick to it, stick with it, and allow yourself the chance to experience failure. That's the only way you'll know what success feels like.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So let's get into Rivet a little bit. I definitely am interested to expound upon what Rivet is and what Rivet does. It's from what I've like seen and what I've researched, is definitely catered to creatives, and I always like to give information to creatives on this platform as much as I possibly can as a fellow creator myself. So
Mhm.
let's talk about what Rivet does specifically.
Sure. So the creator space is a pretty fragmented space. There are so many different platforms that you as a creator have to exist on to reach your fan base, or the Instagrams and all those other social media platforms. As a musician, you may be on Spotify and all these other services, and being active everywhere is really hard. And on top of that, knowing about your fan base and what they like and what they're looking for is really challenging when you just have all of this scattered data that's spread out across these different platforms. So what we're trying to do basically is creating a way for creators to be able to have this centralized space to reach their fan base, to know who their fans are, and to take their most loyal fans and get to engage with them more deeply, to reward them for being loyal fans, and to keep that feedback loop going where they know what fans want and they're able to provide that and create a deeper community as a result of it. I mean, the creator space right now is evolving pretty rapidly, and we're seeing that fans want to be really involved in the creator journey. And so we're exploring that and understanding how fans can be a more involved part of the creator journey and how they can influence and share their ideas and feedback and create things and basically build this community around the creator to support them both like financially but also just in terms of that support structure of ideas of pushing them forward, of creating other opportunities for that creator. That's a very abstract description of what we're exploring, but that's sort of where we're coming from. That's the context of what we're building. And like more concretely, we're building a platform that lets you directly reach your fans wherever they exist. So reach out via email, reach out via text, wherever your fans are. We want you to be able to connect with them, share what you're doing with them, directly sell to them, find different ways to just engage with them meaningfully, and in the process also potentially build a more sustainable income for yourself as a creator.
Okay. So essentially it's a central hub for you as a creative.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we're really excited about being able to take all of the data that you generate on all these different platforms on Rivet and give that to you, the creator. I'm super passionate about data, and we're also just as a team really passionate about data ownership. And so many platforms just don't really offer that. They'll give you like the really high level stuff, but these are your general demographic data points, but they don't give you the specific names and emails and people that you can connect with. It's very abstract, it's very high level. So we're super excited about being able to actually connect you very directly with the community and give you full ownership of that. Like you created it, you are the one putting in the work to build this exciting community and fuel it with the work that you're doing. You deserve access to all those people so that you can connect with them meaningfully.
No, yeah, that's a dope concept. That's something that is very needed in the creative space, if I say so myself. Especially given the opportunity for creatives to fully monetize off of their own creative work. So my question for you, as a co-founder of Rivet, as somebody who I guess you could say owns the app, right? Would that be the correct term? Okay.
A little bit of it.
So how do you and the team profit off of Rivet if the creatives are monetizing it more so than any other app that's similar to Rivet?
Yeah, so we're very much in our early stages right now in the alpha beta stage where we're just testing with users and then bringing them on. So right now actually is a great time to join Rivet because it's a free experience.
Gotcha.
But what we're expecting to set up along the line is basically as you earn money on the platform, we'll take a little commission out of that.
Gotcha.
The goal being we want you to perform well, and then we will be able to perform well as a result of that. But yeah, if you're not successfully building that community, then we won't really be taking anything additional away from you in that process. We do then also plan to have like pro tiers and other tiers that are a bit more advanced, and that would be more of a subscription service. But yeah, for early stage creators, we want them to just come on board and experiment and try building without that concern about losing
all those pressures and everything. Yeah,
exactly.
The pressure of being successful in a new space. Got you.
Because it's not immediate. It's definitely something that
not at all.
You have to build up, and so it's kind of unfortunate to have to tax people on that process while they're just getting started.
Oh, well, I mean, hey, shouts out to Rivet for having a good business model.
we're creators as well, and so I think that helps with that creator empathy. My co-founder is a musician, and that's how this started, and so I think we're very much connected with the people that we're building this for.
Okay, damn. You see, we building up some good continuity because I was just about to ask you, like, what was the inspiration behind, you and the rest of the team to start Rivet? Like, what inspired you all to come together and say we want to make a app that helps creatives?
Yeah. Well, yeah, my co-founder was really inspired to begin this because he faced a lot of those problems as a musician. So he started exploring this in early 2021, and it's changed a lot since what he initially set out to do. But I came on board a little bit later. I got to see the entire experience from the beginning because we met at MIT, and as he was getting started, I got to kind of just watch from the sidelines. But as soon as I graduated, I came on board as well to start helping out. I think personally, my reason for wanting to be a part of Rivet, actually it's a bit of a multifold answer. I knew when I wrapped up at MIT that I wanted to do something meaningful with what I learned there. I took this class freshman year, and the professor on the last day of the class said something that really inspired me. And shoot, I'm going to butcher the quote, but I think I have it here. So I'm just going to read it word for word because I have a quotes list that I put together throughout my 5 years.
I am not
MIT.
mad at it at all.
So cool. It was, "This is not a place of privilege. This is a place of responsibility." And I remember when I heard that, it really struck me that I was privileged enough to get to have access to such incredible professors and such incredible opportunities there. And I didn't want all of that to just go to waste or to not be used in a meaningful way. So
yes.
right from there, I knew that I wanted to use my education to be creating things that were really meaningful and that impacted people. And then when I met Anj, my co-founder, I saw that one, he was really passionate about what he was doing and really skilled, but two, that he was helping people to do something really exciting. He was helping them share their passions with the world, and that really resonated with me. I felt like that was a way to be involved in something that would allow me to use my skill set for good and to use it to create positive change. I love when I can do something that helps people innovate, create. And so yeah, I think that's where my excitement came from. And since I've been a part of the company, and since I've grown in my involvement in what we're doing, I've just been more and more excited, and I've just realized more and more how happy I am that I made that decision, that I made that leap. Because I mean, I knew less about the creator space coming into it, but it's been so cool to learn more and to realize how many similarities there are between what I do as an innovator or as somebody who likes to build things, but like technically, and then what people like you do in a more creative space. And I think, and maybe like, let me know what you think, because I'd love to hear it. But for me, it's a lot about creating things to impact people, to make them think differently or live differently or experience something cool and new. And so that's why I like to build. That's where my technical excitement comes from. And I was like, well, computer science is an easy and awesome way to be able to build quickly and impact quickly. And I wonder, like, is it the same for you? Are you a podcaster? Are you a creative person for that same kind of impact, or what drives you?
So to answer that question, I would say yes, right? I don't necessarily have these conversations with people just to have these conversations with people. I always want to give content to where people can always learn something from whatever is being talked about. Like, even if it's a fun conversation, like, it's always going to be some jewels that's sprinkled in the conversation that people can just listen to and take away from that conversation. You're going to get a chance to add on to that as well later on. But but yeah, it's always in my mind to do something meaningful with my podcast, because I see a lot of people in this media space who only are driven by salacious headlines or things that don't necessarily feed the thought process of people, like, or the growth of it, I should say.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
I mean, to each his own. I guess there's a space for those kind of things too. But with my platform and what I do and the relationships that I build with people, I always want to create something that's long lasting because I always felt like substance lasts the longest. You know,
So
following
true.
following a trend is momentary. Um, Being able to create something that's long lasting, something that people can go to over and over and over again, and take something new away every time. It's very important that I
Mm-hmm.
provide the chance to have people do that. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And do you get to ever talk with the people, like your listeners, and hear how they feel about the content you're putting out and how it impacts them?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, even the guests that come on, like I always give them an opportunity. Like even you, we talked about it off the record that you listen to some of the episodes before coming on just to get a feel for what the podcast is and the types of talks that I have with people. And you expressed that this was like something very dope, something that was very feeding to the soul, feeding to the mind, and
Mm-hmm.
I always talk to people about those things, and some people resonate with specific episodes more because that's just something that they've experienced, or it's a shared experience that they went through themselves, or that's the
Sure.
thought process that they have. So, whenever I make these episodes and talk to these specific people, it it allows me an opportunity to reach a variety of different people who
Mm-hmm.
have these same experiences or think these same things and just don't have a platform to talk about it or have platforms that they can listen to people talk about it. And I'm here to provide each and every kind of those things for those
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
kinds of people.
And it's so cool that all of those people with are walking such different walks of life can come together on this one thing
Yeah.
that you create. So yeah, it's like the community that you're building is super diverse, but they're all able to share something through you.
Yeah. And it's not far from what I would do in my everyday life. So like for example, right? Like I'm gonna let you in behind the curtains a little bit.
Yeah,
So
let's do it.
my friend group is very very vast. Like it's very diverse. Like I'm friends with athletes. I'm friends with film producers, TV producers. I'm friends with script writers. I'm friends with college students. I'm friends with professors. I'm friends with a bunch of people. So
Friends
those
with
people,
co-founders.
good friends with co-founders, right? Friends with co-founders, right? So all of those different people, I get to get different perspectives from those people. So I know that there's an audience for what those people do or what those people are experts in. So I
Mhm.
bring all those people on off the strength of my relationship that I built with those people over time. And we just have a conversation. Like I told you, and I tell everybody else, every time I bring someone on here, it's not necessarily an interview. It's just a conversation between two people or however many people is on at the time, and we just
Yeah.
talk about what we do, the experiences that we've had, the thoughts that go through our mind, and somebody is thinking those things or feeling those things. And if they have a platform that they can go to say, I want to know what it's like to be a college student, just coming into
Yeah.
college, or I want to know what it's like to be a post grad college student. I provide all of those things based off of the people that I've built relationships with over time and
Hmm.
those conversations that we provide on the HolloTalk podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. It's super dope.
Yeah. I mean, it's similar to Rivet, just creating a central hub for creative minds to come together and, just explore something that they otherwise wouldn't get a chance to do.
Yeah, absolutely. There are so many parallels.
Yeah, I like to think I'm a layer guy. So,
Yeah.
the podcast has to have its own layers.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that was a great question.
Yeah, I was just curious. Just curious. I I've just, yeah, like I said, I've been noticing so many parallels between my thought process and the thought process of the users that I work with. So that's been so inspiring for me. I love when I get to learn about a new space and then just realize all the connections between my worldview and those new spaces that I'm exploring. Um, I mean, I'm doing this now, but when I was in college, also, my goal was to explore as many different settings, groups, industries as possible. And
That's what
I
I did
think,
too.
yeah, I think it just really opened my mind because I'd go in thinking, oh, there's like so much to learn, and I'm going to really, I don't know, unearth this entirely new vertical that I'm not at all familiar with. And then when I dig into it more, I realize so much of that was stuff I already knew, or so much of it was
Hmm.
so familiar to me because there are just so many parallels between what I do and what a lot of the people around me, a lot of the spaces around me do. So I've
So
always enjoyed creating those connections and understanding what that looks like.
absolutely, absolutely, and that's something that I tell people often, especially when I come on a podcast or even off the record for that matter. Like
Hmm.
when I was in college, I made it a mission of mine to connect with as many people as I possibly could. I knew for
Yeah.
myself, like going into school, I was like, I have to at least allow myself an opportunity to reach my fullest potential, knowing that I'm a people person, that I'm good with
Hmm.
talking to people and making those different kinds of connections. I got to
Hmm.
be around people who are like minded like me or people who are on a path to doing something extraordinary. I got to
Yeah.
surround myself around those people, which
Yeah.
is kind of what I do with the pod. I'm surrounding myself with amazing people. I got a co-founder of a thriving app on my podcast that I'm building a friendship with. So, the the
Yeah.
the connection that you build with people is very, very important, if not the most important thing you can do.
Hmm. Hmm. Would you say you were always like that, or were you very intentional about doing that once you got to college?
Um, I I think I was always like this to some degree. Like um I've always had an aura around me that I guess people just gravitated to. I'm like, no, nothing cocky, nothing like that. But
No.
that's just what it is. Like, like I mean, you were there when we met at Rec Philly. Like, speaking of which, I got to congratulate you for standing up in front of all those people and speaking,
That was a good
before the
time.
panel.
Yeah, that was its own story. I That was a very wild week for me, and so I didn't know if I'd be able to deliver everything effectively up on stage because I was so sleep deprived. Like this whole like rivet thing is a pretty hectic thing to do daily. So I'm learning how to have a normal schedule, but that week was not normal. So it was. I was just glad that I made it out of there.
Yeah.
Still with like a lot of new people like you, and
Hmm.
without having said anything too crazy.
Yeah, but like I said, you were there, so like after you spoke and everything, I'm not sure if you like just went and sat down and listened to the panel or everything, but at the end of the panel, I stood up and I introduced myself, introduced the podcast.
Yeah, yeah.
I also like told everybody in the room like I'm looking to collaborate with whoever wants to collaborate with me, so feel free to walk up to me, talk to me or whatever.
Mhm.
And lo and behold, I came out with like 10 new contacts on that day. So
That's awesome.
yeah, you got to see it firsthand.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I really admire people who do that because it's important to find opportunities to create opportunities to put yourself out there. That's
Of
how
course.
you bring people like that towards you. It's definitely not something that's easy to just get sitting down and without putting in that effort. So I think when I see people like you doing that, I know internally that that's you've been super intentional, I'm sure, this entire time, this entire journey about creating opportunities to meet people and taking advantage of any space that you're in to create those connections. That's a really good mindset to have.
No, yeah, but you have to though. Like, one of the things that they always tell us is like the number one fear is public speaking. Talking to
Mm,
another person is like the most scariest thing you can do, right? So with that in mind, as a person who talks to people all day, every day, to alleviate that stress on myself of feeling like that's the worst thing in the world, you got to
mhm,
realize everybody, or at least almost everybody, feels nervous to talk to someone else. So
mhm,
if you make the jump first and you go up and talk to people, or you invite people into your space to talk to you, then it makes it easier a little bit. It makes it a little
Hmm.
bit easier to have that kind of dialogue, that exchange dialogue, because that person is like, all right, he or she's not nervous to talk to me or whatever. Like they showing a little bit of confidence. So
Yeah.
now I feel a little more confident. So now we can exchange dialogue, we can exchange information. Then, oh, now this is my best friend now. Oh my God, we've been best friends for 20 years. And that's off the strength of one of those people being confident enough to say, hey, my name is Nick. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, yeah, so true. That's how the best stories begin.
Let me ask you this question. So I know that you were talking about doing like a lot of the behind the scenes technical work, right? So transitioning into something like Rivet where you're dealing with creatives, right? Being in
Hmm.
that space. Is being in the creative space something that you're more like is it more enticing to be in the creative space now that you're like a part of Rivet and you're dealing with a lot of creatives, or you still like to be behind the scenes dealing with the numbers and all those kind of things?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say I've never been the person to want to only be behind the scenes. I've always had a bit of a creative element to what I do, and I've always enjoyed the people side of every project I take on or anything that I've built. Um, I think unless I get to talk with people and see how what I'm doing impacts them, I don't feel motivated. So from that standpoint, I don't think I've ever been just a super behind the scenes numbers only person. Definitely feel inspired to do more, having met a lot of people like you. I think
Right.
every time I talk to a creator and I see them taking their ideas and putting them to work and creating real things, or taking basically taking ideas to reality within a really short time period. That's inspires me to do more of that. I think I often have so many ideas that I want to pursue, and the more I'm around people who are go-getters, who really, yeah, take what they have in mind and put it out there, the more I want to do the same. So, I mean, I think like you said, it's been a really positive community to join or to surround myself with. I had a lot of that being around people who were technical but really excited to build, but this is unlocking a new dimension for sure in terms of being around people who are not afraid to just create things and put it out there and see how people interact with that and then learn and do more and just continually iterate.
So was like was that something that you always had, like that was like an intangible you always had, or was that something that you gained being around people who were like that?
I think I have always had looking for chances to get to build things and to get to put it out, and see how people react. But yeah, I think being around creatives has encouraged me to do more and put out more faster.
Gotcha. So with like I know everything that you do at Rivet, right? Is there any other business ventures that you're involved in currently?
Right now, because I just switched to working on Rivet full time, I'm fully focused on Rivet. We're very early stage, so it's pretty hectic even just doing this alone. I mean, I do a few other things for fun, just like I write my own blog.
Okay.
I like to read. I'm a huge space nut, so I'm very active in the astronomy and aerospace community. And those are things I do for fun, but I'm right now very focused on Rivet.
Okay.
We're trying to push it forward, and I think it takes all of my mental energy. Um, I actually the day that we met, that was the day I gave my 2 weeks notice at the previous job that I was
Oh,
doing alongside Rivet. So for like a good 6 months, I was doing Rivet while also working elsewhere full time. And then I made the decision to just focus on Rivet and see, if I give my full attention to this, can we really take it where we want it to be? So that's why for the recent time period, I've been very focused on just this.
gotcha. Gotcha. So Rivet has been a thing for how long now?
We started in early 2021.
Okay, gotcha,
Yeah,
gotcha.
a little
So,
over a year.
so a little over a year. Um, So I did, like I said, I was doing my research on you guys, and I seen that you guys won the MIT Creative Arts competition, right?
Yeah.
I want you to talk a little bit about what that competition is, and I also want to know what made Rivet stand out amongst the competition.
hmm So, in full transparency, that competition happened before I joined the team, but
Okay.
I can still give a little bit of background. Um, a bunch of different companies were pitching at that competition. They shared their business model, they shared their vision for the companies that they were running, and our company did the same. And I think what really helped us stand out was one, we had the idea, but then two, we put a lot of execution behind it and had already reached a pretty exciting stage by the point of that that pitch. So we had already tested working with artists. We had a platform that was in early stage of development, and rather than waiting until we had something cool before bringing people in to test it, the company was very focused on having artists and creators be a part of that process from the get-go. And so I think we probably received a lot of respect for the creator first approach that we took. The fact that they were a part of that, their voice was a part of our platform and our product from the get go. So there was a lot of confidence in the product and in the fact that, we are building something that will help you because you've been a part of that conversation all along. That's what I would say. I was a huge fan of Rivet at the time, and I listened to the entire competition. And I gave my co-founder tons of notes afterwards and everything. So I was pretty involved with it, but I didn't actually partake in it because I joined Rivet maybe a couple of months after that.
Got you, got you. And for me, seeing that, like I thought that was like very impressive. That you guys won that competition, knowing the quality of thinkers that go to MIT. So
Yeah, there were some incredible people. And the space, the arts and technical space at MIT is really cool. I wish I'd gotten to explore more of it while I was there, but there's so many people that use their technical backgrounds to invent in the artistic space in really cool ways. So I remember listening to the pitches and just being really inspired and kind of flabbergasted by all the different ideas people were sharing. And but I knew when my co-founder went up there and did his thing, he was so good. I was like, there's no way he loses. He's too good. So I was biased, but I kind of, yeah, I had high hopes for him, and so I was glad that it worked
yeah, well, hey, shouts out to the whole Rivet team for
out.
pulling that off.
Yeah, they worked hard. They worked hard.
I'm sure. So okay, so I want to kind of get into uh a little bit of the how I want to say this a little bit of the focus of Rivet. So is Rivet specific to creatives alone, or is it catered to any kind of business?
Yeah, right now we're very focused on creators, and obviously what we're building definitely has the potential to expand way beyond that. I think right now we want to be building features that are very directed towards creators, and within that we're also really specifically looking at artists and podcasters. Um, that's maybe the majority of the users on our platform currently. So obviously it's a lot easier to be building for them and to continue to explore their needs. But I think with time, as we build a great experience for them, we can think more about reaching more people.
Okay. And like, do you have any kind of people or specific businesses in mind that you guys would like first want to get involved with?
Following what we're doing now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be great. Like in our head, our plan is artists and podcasters and YouTubers right now, and we expand out to other kinds of influencers on other platforms. And from there, we can start just looking at anyone who's trying to build a community. We've had really interesting conversations with people who are organizing protests or charities or other forms of community that similarly could benefit from the platform. And it's cool because those are things that I didn't necessarily think about beforehand, but having those conversations yeah, it opened my mind. I was like, yeah, there's definitely potential to take communities that are maybe spread out across a region, across the country, across the world, and have them come together through our platform to do all kinds of meaningful things. Yeah, it's a very, very, there's a lot of potential. So
No,
I would say,
that's why I was asking that question.
yeah, yeah, it's pretty limitless. Honestly, we're so focused on just going within the creator space right now that we haven't thought to limit ourselves too much. We're seeing what direction it goes in. The exciting thing for me and the way that I learn and kind of identify who's a good next target is just exploring who reaches us organically. We actually started just targeting artists, but then podcasters were reaching us and we realized, hey, like this is another segment to target. And
Yeah.
actually, they might be able to leverage some of our features even better than what we were building for artists. So that expanded my view. And then I think as we progress, we're just finding more really interesting personalities reach us. And that's how I kind of as a strategist, that's what I'm thinking about, I guess, just understanding based on who's reaching us, how can we continue to move in that direction. I mean, it's easy to ideate and come up with different segments that we could reach, but the biggest proof is when they come to you. So I think
Of
that's
course. Of
that's been
course.
really helpful for us.
Yeah, that's how I feel about the podcast too. When people be like, "Oh man, I've came across your podcast and I listened to a few episodes and like I really really love your content. Like I would like to get involved and be on the episode."
Mm-hmm.
That's like an amazing feeling to know that the content is reaching further than my outreach, me reaching out to people and me asking people to come on, people actually coming up to me and saying, yo, I really really like your content, bro.
Yeah. Have you
That's
had
an
any
amazing feeling.
surprises? Have you had any
um
surprises in who's been interested?
yeah, so I actually had a guy, I actually did the episode already, but I had a guy reach out to me on LinkedIn, and he was very very excited to be a part of the episode, and work with me on a few other ventures and everything like that. So to see that somebody who is involved in a lot of things that I'm also involved in or want to
Mm-hmm.
get involved in, it was like amazing that they were captivated by what I do and how I do it and wanted to
Mm-hmm.
be a part of it.
Feels good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an amazing feeling. I do want to reach out to a few more people that like I personally want to talk to. Hopefully I continue to build my platform and my brand to where it's more recognizable for those people to say, oh, I know what this is. Oh, that's Jetpack Nick. Oh, that's the HolloTalk podcast. He reached out to me like 2 years ago. Like, let me give
Yeah,
him a episode. That'll be a dope feeling for me.
absolutely. Well, you have me on the podcast
I
now,
do.
so you're obviously going to get a ton of reach through this. I'm just joking, but that those are great goals to have. That's awesome.
Yeah, so let's keep our focus on Rivet for a second. So
Okay.
I want to know because in the creator space, I know it's a few different applications that are similar to Rivet, right? So I
Hmm.
wanted to
Hmm.
ask you, being that you're one of the co-founders of Rivet, what do you feel sets Rivet apart from the apps that's similar to Rivet that's out already, or any
Hmm.
app that may be similar to Rivet coming out in the future?
Yeah, yeah, good question. I think there are basically, so when we talk about the fan journey, we always describe it as this funnel that goes from discovery at the top. So that's platforms like Instagram, TikTok,
Mm-hmm.
and then engagement as the middle layer. So platforms like MailChimp that help you reach your fans. And then at the bottom layer is monetization. So platforms like Patreon that help you generate income off of that fan base. And so we consider each of those tiers to have companies that are competing with us. But what we're doing at Rivet is integrating that entire funnel. So
Gotcha.
we're going from beginning to end. And as a result of that, we have a much richer layer of data. And that really gives you more knowledge about who your fans are and how to effectively engage them, how to effectively monetize them, and connect with them. So that's one thing. The other piece is we're building an omni-channel experience. So I mentioned this before too, but our goal is we want to reach fans wherever they exist. There are a lot of platforms that engage fans, but they require the fan to sign up on the platform, engage through the platform. And we just know that that behavior switch is a big deal. Like fans are not looking for another platform to sign up for that they have to be active on in order to reach people.
Right.
So we're trying to make that easier by letting fans exist wherever they prefer, and making it simpler for the creator to just from one platform reach out to all of them across Instagram, across email, text, whatever. And so that omni-channel experience, creating a seamless way to do that, is also a pretty strong differentiator for Rivet.
Okay. And, actually you bringing that up, that actually provides me with a question that I didn't necessarily think of in the beginning.
Yeah.
So Rivet, like, would you say that Rivet can also be an app like strictly for the fan? Like not necessarily just for the creative, but also for the fan too, to have like also a central hub to just follow whoever they're a fan of?
That's what we're kind of building on the fan side. So
Okay, got you.
so that is basically what the experience is like. You as a creator are creating a community, but fans are then subscribing to that community.
Got you.
What we're not doing is forcing the fan to exist in the portal, but we actually do create a portal for each of our fans as well, so that if they want to see who are they following, who should they follow, we offer those kinds of recommendations and help you also broaden your mindset on other creators that exist out there within the Rivet community that you might be excited about. So right now we've been very focused on the creator side, just given that it's challenging to be building both sides simultaneously.
Yeah.
And so the fan side is there, but we have so many plans for where we can take it from here. I think it's exciting to be building a space where fans can interact with each other also.
Okay.
You see a little bit of that on platforms, like people commenting under each other's posts and people putting out covers and people reacting to those covers. But I think when I'm excited about something, I am also really looking for people to share that excitement with. And we are trying to come up with more creative ways to make it easy to do that without, again, requiring you to sign up somewhere else and exist there for that. So how can I, as someone who loves communicating through text, know about where our community is and what's going on when you, Nick, are posting something on YouTube, which is a fully different platform?
Yeah.
So yeah, we're trying to create that kind of like no matter where you exist, like this kind of decentralized approach to having a fan club while still having the know-all of what's going on across that entire network.
Got you. So so as a creative, right? Like I would personally want to know, and for any creatives that are gonna listen to this, like I want to know, in your personal opinion, being that you are very hands-on in the experience that Rivet presents to us as creatives, what would be the best way that you would suggest us to use Rivet in order to achieve success within the app?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think what we've found to be the most successful, and I can also walk you through some exciting stories from some of our current users. But what's been really great is when artists come on the platform and release some kind of exclusive content and bring their community in through that process, and then use that as an opportunity to start engaging with them. So more concretely, one of our users, an artist, put up their beats on their page, on their community page, and they basically were hoping that their fan base would download those beats, create music, put it out there somewhere, and they just wanted to see what would come out of it. Like, would people want to download and create things and come to Rivet to do that? And so it was kind of a test for us, and it was also just something that they wanted to explore doing through us. But it was so cool. Within a week, I think we had around 700 people download those beats, create really cool music. And like I said, our fan side is not well developed right now. Like we haven't done too much there, but what we saw was people were looking for other places to put that content. So they went on YouTube, on Instagram, and they were like using hashtags to try to get the artist's attention, but they were creating stuff and putting it out there, and fans were interacting with that. And it was just really exciting to see like something as simple as using Rivet to release some beats lead to something so exciting. And so the goal there is you want to use that as an opportunity to gather information about those fans so that you can continue that relationship. So the way that this artist did it was when he put his beats up on Rivet, he required that you put in an email address to access them. So as a fan, I stick in my email, I get access to the beats, I start creating, I'm having fun. But on the creator side, I've now gotten access to this email that I can use to continue to reach out to you after this experience too. And that's where that direct engagement piece starts going. So we have direct outreach features within the platform that you can use to reach your fans. And then we kind of see how they're interacting with what you're putting out. And that data just helps you learn how to interact with them, like what to send to them, and just create the kind of experience that they're looking for as a member of your community. So that's one story. I can actually give another really cool one too.
Please do. I'm always in the space for hearing exciting stories.
Actually, so Ivy Soul, who is one of our artists, is actually from the Philly area. So and part of Rec Philly, I believe. So maybe familiar to some of your members, but she used the platform to first put out an exclusive album early. So she was planning this album release, and she decided to use Rivet to reward her more loyal fans that had been there with her through this entire journey by sharing that album with them a bit early. And it was really cool. She put up the album like a little over a day in advance, and people, like her most loyal fans, were able to access that.
Mm-hmm.
And to access it, they had to put in some information again as well, like address information, email, and her most loyal fans were more than willing to do that. So they got access to her album early. They got to listen, share feedback about it, which was super cool. She got access to addresses, which meant that she could now send out things to them. So she could send out stickers, merch, and thank them for being such a huge part of her journey all along. So I think, and I didn't say this, but another really exciting part about Rivet is what we're doing is trying to make the fan creator relationship less transactional. It's not like I should be purchasing everything. And
that's a big one. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's like a chance to reward people because your fans do so much for you. And we hear that so much from all of the creators that we speak with. So we're creating a way to easily allow them to reward and engage with their fans that way.
And to be honest, quite honest with you, I think that from all the things that you've expressed about Rivet and the things that you guys wish to accomplish and the things that you're working on, that part right there, along with the monetization of your art, of course, but the relationship between the artist and the fan, that engagement, that interaction, making it less transactional, making it easier, making it just a lot faster, a cleaner way to do it. I think that that's very important because I'm pretty sure if you ask any creative of any kind, they would always tell you that, nah, I basically do it for the people who support me, the fans. Like I'm not just on the podcast talking to myself just because I like it. I like the fact that it reaches a community of people who gravitate to what I'm talking about, the people that I have on the podcast, or somebody who does music. Now, I make music because people gravitate to it. They at my show singing every lyric. Like I'm not. I would be nothing without the fans. So
absolutely,
yeah. So making that engagement and that interaction between artist and fan as smooth as you guys attempt to make it, I think that that's very, very important and very, very dope.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's
thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's I think, I mean, we can lightly talk about community building, but community building is nothing without crossing that barrier of making the creator fan relationship less transactional and more uh, personal and meaningful. So I think that's really what's underlying that large grand view that we're talking about when we say community building.
Okay. So this is my last official question for you. I'm not sure if I'm going to
Okay,
have any more questions depending on what we say, but my last official question, and I'm pretty sure you answered it like along the conversation, but specific question, you might have a
sure.
different answer. Like, what are the long-term and short-term goals for Rivet that you guys have?
Short term, we want to get more proof around our product. So we want to have more artists come on board, more creators come on board, give us more feedback so that we can take what we've built so far and really turn it into something that best serves them. We've been really actively talking with a lot of creators in these last couple of months, and we're continuing to, so that again, the experience really is the way creators would benefit the most from it. We actually consider ourselves kind of similar to the artists and creators that we support. We also are basically this and like this community building piece where we have all of you guys, our artists and creators around us as our community, and we're trying to serve you. So I think the business model that we have when we talk about artists and the relationship they have with their fans, we're trying to do the same thing right now, being Rivet and catering to our community of users. So that's the immediate future. We've been also very busy fundraising and just growing our team so that we can reach those goals. Long term, we want to be this creator first platform that really helps creators of all kinds build their communities very seamlessly. And we want to, like we discussed, take it beyond just artists and podcasters to reach this wide range of creators and help them reach out to their very diverse communities, no matter what they look like and what those interactions involve. So that's something that's really exciting to me, to get to take it from our very focused segments right now and to be able to go wide and reach basically any creator type, and then eventually any type of person looking to build a community.
Okay. Well, I guess y'all heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen, what the plans are for Rivet in the short
Grand
term
views.
future and the long future.
How about you? What are your short term and long term goals with the podcast, or
um
with anything else you're doing?
okay, so with the podcast specifically, short term goals is just to continue to add new things to it. You know, like each season I was able to implement something new to make the podcast, you know, more efficient, stand out more, make it more presentable and things like that. So
Mhm.
like I want to say season 3 was the first season that we had visuals.
Mhm.
um Season 4, I mean, it's a lot going on season 4. Like I just launched my website.
Uh-huh.
um we actually got some merch, some HolloTalk merch right here. You can see it right there.
Ooh, exciting. How can I get that?
Whenever we get some more merch, it'll be on the website at jetpacknick.com. So
Got it.
yeah, so that'll be where you can get it. Or I mean, you my friend now, so you could just reach me directly and I'll send some stuff your way.
You'll be hearing from me.
For sure, for sure. But yeah, as far as short term goes, is just continuing to add layers to the podcast and the brand itself. You know, just being able to make the brand stand out more. Like I said, season 4, we got the merch, the website. Every episode so far has been on camera, so you know we get to actually see the interaction instead of just listening to it on audio.
Yeah,
And who knows, maybe I might be coming to Rivet too on season 4. So
that's right. That's right.
those are things that are goals for me short term wise. As far as long term is concerned, um just continuing to expand my relationship building, you know, being able to connect with different people, being able to connect with people who are in different disciplines and people who I can collaborate with to not only make the podcast better, but whatever other venture, may come out of that relationship or friendship with that person.
Great goals and exciting things ahead then for your podcast listening community.
Absolutely. I mean, okay. So again, I'm gonna let you behind the curtain a little bit more. So to be quite honest with you, I think that the thing that's kind of I don't want to say holding back per se, but the thing that I feel like I need to enhance more is just the presentation of how I go about presenting a podcast, promoting a podcast, and things of that nature. As far as I'm concerned, I truly, truly believe, and I'm not just saying this because it's my platform and I'm on it talking, but I do think my content is very, very strong. Like the catalog that I've built up over these last 2 years is very, very strong. And if I'm able to, if and when I'm able to um enhance the brand and enhance the presentation of how I present the HolloTalk podcast, I think that'll be the difference from where I am now to me getting to where I see myself going.
Yeah, well, we'll be watching every step of the way. That'll be exciting, and hopefully Rivet can be a part of that.
Yeah, you beat me to it. I was just about to say, hopefully Rivet can play a role.
We're just waiting for you to join.
No, yeah, but I mean, hey, just thanks to you and thanks to us meeting that day, that I'm able to talk to you, build a friendship with you, and we're able to coexist in the same kind of space and potentially help each other with those platforms. So really, really thanks to you, and I'm glad to call you a friend now.
Yeah, likewise. So excited.
Let's see. Do I have anything else? Okay, I do. I have one more thing, but before I get to that, you have any more questions you want to ask me?
When is this going out?
Oh, this episode? I don't know. So I
Tricky
have
question.
I got a few episodes that are that are in the tuck, but I don't know. It could come out within the next couple weeks. It could come out a month from now. I don't know.
What are you most excited about with season 4? If you had to boil it down.
The thing I'm most excited about with season 4. I would say whoever I have on the podcast for season 4, because generally I don't necessarily know what the season lineup is going to look like, because you reach out to different people and some people say, yeah, like I'll get on the pod, and then something happens and then they wind up not getting on and things like that. So it's always interesting to see the carousel of people that come on the podcast each and every season. I think that's one of the most exciting things. Primarily because, like I said, each season I've been progressing. So as I progress, more people become interested in being on the podcast. So those people that I reached out to 2 years ago might say, "Oh hell yeah, bro! I'll definitely come on the pod now." And then you'll see me with a big name person on the HolloTalk podcast. So that's what I'm most excited about, and just the witnessing the growth of the podcast, witnessing the growth of myself as a person, and being able to basically log it and just be able to see where I was at my life at this moment in time, looking back a week from now or 2 weeks from now or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I always think that's the coolest part, being able to go back to episode 1 and just seeing how much you've progressed since.
Yeah, that's one of the dopest things for me. And it's like I got 4 seasons of content to where I can just see what I was thinking about at that moment in time, or what my thought process was, see if it's the same, see if it's different, see why that's the case. All those things, the little things that people don't normally think about.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah. You got any more questions? Like I said, it's a conversation. I'm willing to answer whatever you ask.
I'll keep asking, but I think I'll stop here and leave it to you.
Okay, so the last thing, this is customary to the HolloTalk podcast. I always ask each guest to provide the people with 3 gems from the conversation that they could take away and apply to their everyday life.
3 gems. Okay. I think 1, community is powerful. We both seem to see how much value there is in being able to build meaningful relationships that go beyond just that transactional back and forth. When you have people around you, 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2 anymore. It's much more than that. So that's one. Two, circling back to that quote that my professor told me way back when, I think it's so important to, no matter what position you're in, take the skill sets that you have and look for ways to use them to impact others positively, and to, in my case, use them to unleash other people's passions. But for you, in whatever form that passion exists, taking your skill set and being able to take that influence around you and expand it beyond just yourself and your immediate people. The more people I can reach with what I'm excited about, that's just even more inspiring for me, and keeps that flywheel going. And then 3, take every opportunity that you get to put yourself out there, and, like you said, make the conversation easier for the other person, and bridge those connections more quickly. It's easy to wait around, but it's a lot more effective to just initiate and get things moving.
Okay. Oh, y'all heard it here, ladies and gentlemen.
And so much of that I learned from talking with you. So
well,
cool. I mean,
hey.
I think that's a really cool part of being on a podcast, or in general, like having conversations. It's like you have these thoughts in your mind, but when you articulate them for others, you understand them better for yourself as well. So
see,
thank
there
you.
You go. You figured out the premise of the HolloTalk podcast. I told you that's the whole idea. Allowing people to come on, feel comfortable, unapologetically be themselves, and feel free to share these thoughts that you have in your head, or better understand these thoughts by talking to somebody who also thinks these things, or somebody that's just willing to listen to you, whatever the case may be.
So true.
So for that, I truly, truly thank you for coming on the podcast. And I am very grateful of this friendship that we are continuing to build.
Thank you. Yeah, this is so great. And I hope I will be back for a future season as well.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, like I said, when I build these relationships with people, like I always try to keep them, I always try to keep them, so you are definitely good. You're good in my book for sure. Yeah, but that's it. Hopefully, this was a great experience for you, this being your first podcast, correct?
Yeah. Now I know I want to do many more.
Well, I hopefully I set the bar high for the rest of the people.
You did. It's gonna be hard. I hope I didn't peak with my first podcast.
No, not at all. I mean, you only as good as your last one. So, just continue to expand what you do, expand your thought process, and then you have no problem articulating it. So that's not a problem at all. We do this to get better. Like, everybody's not going to have an amazing episode or the most memorable episode. Even me, like when I started off, I wasn't, where I am now, and as far as my skill set on a podcast, but it's a platform where people are allowed to grow and become better at things. I never want to make people feel like, all right, this is a one and done thing. If you come on here and you bomb, that's it. You don't get no more tries, or you just suck completely. Like, no, like we gonna talk, we gonna work on it, and we gonna come back and have a better episode.
Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome. You're doing so much for the people around you.
Hey, you are too. So
Thank you.
Me and you coming together, that can only be beneficial to the people in our community.
Absolutely.
Yeah. This has been another episode of the HolloTalk podcast. I truly, truly thank you for coming on and spending time with me and talking to me and everything. I also want to just say thank you to the HolloTalk podcast listeners and supporters for supporting us through and through. I'm also excited to see how I can work with Rivet and become a part of the Rivet community.
Yeah, stay tuned, everyone. You're gonna be hearing about Nick from an entirely different platform very soon.
Yeah. So before we go, let everybody know where they can find you and find Rivet, you know, like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, whatever you got.
Yeah, I have a pretty silly handle for everything, but it's the plasma brain. So my name, Simran Pabla, if you mix up the letters, it forms plasma brain. And so I was super excited about that back in the day and was silly. And my Twitter, my Instagram, everything is the plasma brain. So you can find me there. You can also find me on Rivet. I'm building my community there as well. So link.rivetapp.co/simip. That's the one place where I didn't go with plasma brain. Trying to grow up a little bit, but not too much because clearly Simi P is also not the most professional name. So slow progress.
Man. All right. Well, like I said, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I would definitely stay in touch with you for sure. You know, so we can figure out the whole, you know, Rivet thing and just continuing to build our friendship.
Absolutely. And for anyone else who's listening and is interested in exploring the platform, you can also find that at rivetapp.co. Hopefully, would love to actually talk with anyone else who's interested in listening, but hopefully you find something interesting there if you're also as excited about community as the two of us are.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, again, I truly thank you for giving me some time today to talk to you and explore what Rivet is and explore who you are as a person. It was an amazing conversation for me, and I hope it was just as amazing for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks.
All right. Well, I'm going to get you out here again. I just want to say thank you to the HolloTalk podcast listeners, supporters, and thank you.